Good afternoon, everyone. We begin with breaking news as many truckers and travelers have been waiting for days now. We've learned I-94 will remain closed tonight from Jamestown to the Montana border. The decision was just made moments ago during a conference call between the Highway Patrol and the DOT. Captain Brian Newen says it's likely that I-94 will reopen sometime tomorrow. He says strong winds continue to blow snow and block the interstate and other highways as quickly as plows can roll through. In some places, he says the drifts are as high as the overpass. The majority of the state is currently under a no travel advisory, and the eastern side is under a travel alert as snow continues to fall in the valley. In Minnesota, plows are out with roads on the west side of the state partially or completely covered in snow. As you can see here from the blue and pink lines, in the southwest, travel is not advised as difficult weather conditions are creating hazards on the roads. Now let's go to Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson for the very latest. Hutch.
Stacey, thanks so much. You were looking briefly there at our view from the Dakota Magic Casino I-29. Now we have a lot of wind ripping through the Sisseton Hills at gusts near 50 miles per hour, shaking there. Reduced visibility can be expected as we do have some bands of snow working their way through. And let's take a look around the region. First and foremost, snow totals out west in the Minot area going up. They went to bed last night with snow that was heavy lasting through the overnight hours. They're having difficulty measuring it, as you can imagine, with wind gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour and drifts measured in 5 to 15 feet. As we had forecast. It's tough. Here's a look around though. If you take a look at New Salem, snow, wind continues there. Botno, same thing. Icy roads as well, a problem. Even if they look clear, they're very icy right now. Tappan, that's on I-94 out there just off to the east of the Bismarck-Mandan area. And Rugby also very rough. And it's that Rugby area where Highway 2 was closed out to the west. Showers in bands, as we mentioned last night, continue to drift through a persistent band right here that I think is being caused by some cold air sloshing down right on that boundary. It's just sitting there. So we're going to have some areas that get some enhanced snowfall, but that wind we're waiting for, it's not really up in the trees of Minnesota, gusts to 30 there, but over 40 to 50 miles per hour in the Southern Valley. And we have those periods of snow showers moving through, so reduced visibility will be a problem. In fact, it's under a mile in Detroit Lakes, Alexandria, and Jamestown right now. All right, the wind gusts overnight will continue into morning. First alert weather day does continue. Snow, narrow bands, poor visibility at times, impossible travel out west, tricky travel out east. But some good news. Tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and talk about only 0 to 2 inches of snow in these bands for most areas, isolated more out in the western part of the Dakotas. This system's wrapping up. We have canceled Friday's first alert weather day. More on that, Stacey, here in just a couple of moments.
That is good news. All right, thanks, Hutch. New for you at 4. Take a look at this. A short time ago, traffic was backed up due to a car fire on the exit off I-94 west at University. The call came in just before 2 o'clock. Crews were able to put out the fire quickly. No word yet on what caused the fire or the condition of the driver. Check our website for updates, valleynewslive.com. The man accused of setting off smoke canisters and opening fire on a New York subway is set to appear in federal court later today. 62-year-old Frank James was arrested yesterday after he called police on himself.
We were able to shrink his world quickly. There was nowhere left for him to run.
James stands accused of terrorism on board a mass transit system. He faces life in prison if convicted of the attack, which injured more than 20 people, 10 struck by bullets. The New York City native was known to NYPD and had an arrest record spanning at least 15 years in several states. His motive tonight remains unclear, but videos posted on YouTube appear to show James ranting about New York City Mayor Eric Adams, gun violence, and the subway system. Ukraine is claiming a victory against a Russian warship which had been launching missiles. This comes as President Biden has agreed to another round of weapons shipments to be sent to Ukraine ahead of another expected attack. The Kremlin confirms the crew abandoned ship but says that was because a fire on board set off ammunition. But the battle for a port city continues with 90% of the city estimated to be destroyed. The Pentagon's shipments will include for the first time specific guns which the Ukrainians ask for in expectation of the impending battle.
That part of Ukraine is a bit like Kansas, so it's a little bit flatter, it's a little bit more open, and it's the kind of place where we can anticipate that the Russians will want to use tanks and long-range fires, artillery, and rocket fire.
The Pentagon says the attack could come any day now. The Kremlin warned that President Putin will consider a range of measures to bolster Russia's security if Finland or Sweden join NATO. Both countries are discussing membership. Drones have become one of Ukraine's most important weapons in the war against Russia. While the U.S. and other governments have spent billions to arm Ukraine's military, amateur pilots are using their drone skills to help troops too. CBS's Tina Kraus reports from London.
On Ukraine's front line, eyes in the sky can give troops an edge on the enemy. So these amateur pilots are on a mission to get more drones to Ukrainian forces. In a secret location near the city of Lviv, friends who used to race drones together before the war are now building them to protect Ukraine.
We can help our country. We can enrich our knowledge. We can share the knowledge between each other.
The group, called Punishment from Above, has built dozens of drones, some designed for reconnaissance missions, others equipped to drop deadly explosives.
Також це може бути і РКГ.
Dmitry says this one can carry a grenade to hit a Russian tank. One of the drones is bound for Mykolaiv, the southern city that's been under Russian fire for weeks. Each carries a handwritten note to Ukrainian pilots wishing them luck in the fight. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
The Punishment from Above group is one of several helping to build drones for Ukrainian forces. They're using crowdfunding to support their effort. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has begun busing migrants from the southern border to Washington, D.C. in protest of the Biden administration's decision to ease a pandemic-related immigration rule. The rule allows immigration officials to deny entry to most migrants, even those seeking asylum.
The Biden administration and a lot of leaders in Congress have no idea about the chaos they have caused.
These are all migrants who have been processed by CBP and are free to travel.
Governor Abbott has also implemented enhanced safety inspections of commercial trucks crossing the border, he says, to curb drug and migrant smuggling. How would you like to work fewer hours for the same amount of money? That's a reality for a growing number of American workers. California lawmakers are considering a bill to make this standard work week 32 hours instead of 40. If it becomes law, it would apply to workers and companies with 500 or more employees. Many private businesses across the country are already trying a 4-day work week, hoping to reduce stress without reducing productivity. Chris Van Cleve went to Colorado to see how one of them is doing it.
When Emily Lutchins started at Uncharted in 2020, the Denver-based nonprofit was running an experiment. Could they maintain 100% productivity and pay while working 20% less?
It's an opportunity to take a step back and think about how you can be smarter with your work.
Are you happier working 4 days a week instead of 5?
I'm definitely happier. And I think that I'm just living my life better.
Nationally, 92% of employees favor a 4-day work week. But CEO Banks Benitez wanted to know his business wouldn't suffer. So he brought in an analyst to track productivity and the impact of a 4-day week on employees.
How has that changed how you guys do business?
It's changed everything. I mean, it reduced workplace stress, reduced burnout. We saw no reduction in productivity, and every Friday it was off.
Henry Ford's assembly line ushered in the standard 5-day work week in 1926. And while that remains the norm, today's workforce is demanding better life balance, a trend sped up by the pandemic. In Iceland, roughly 85% of the country works or will soon work 4 days a week. Earlier this year, Belgium announced employees can opt to work 4 10-hour workdays. And across North America and the UK, dozens of companies, including crowdfunding site Kickstarter, are testing a 4-day week.
Can the 4-day work week work for everyone?
No, that's unlikely to work for everyone.
Bill Shanninger from consulting firm McKinsey & Company.
The challenge is for the portion of the workforce that has gotten a taste of flexibility. Flexibility, full stop, is way more attractive than still the mandate, but on a shorter number of days.
California Congressman Mark Takano has introduced legislation to make workers eligible for overtime after 32 hours instead of 40.
It's time to re-examine, what the work week should look like in the 21st century.
At Uncharted, the new norm means prioritizing what's important.
So we're really thoughtful about what is the most essential work that we're doing. Is this meeting really critical for us to have? Can we cancel this meeting?
You're canceling meetings?
Any given work week, we will cancel 10% of the meetings, 15% of the meetings, because we don't need them, they're not essential, or we just shorten them.
Are you hiring?
For Emily Lutchins, the extra time is making balancing her career with being a new mom a little easier.
Could you see yourself ever going back to a job that was Monday through Friday?
It would be hard.
Working smarter to get more time for herself. For CBS, I'm Chris Van Cleve in Denver.
Meanwhile, Congress is stepping up to help avoid a potential retirement crisis by bringing new rules for 401k programs. Officials say if signed, it'll force people into saving in their 401ks by making employer-sponsored retirement plans auto-enroll workers at a 3% level. But workers will be able to opt out or adjust their levels after 10%. It said part-time workers will be able to build their 401ks for the first time, as well as making it easier for those paying student loans to save and older workers to do some catch-up. The bill is expected to hit the president's desk later this year.